Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, everybody, want to welcome everybody back to the third day of Keep That Same Energy with the Rap Hippies. Yeah. Self-awareness week, man. We got a nice little panel discussion we about to get ready to jump into and talk. I got my co-host with me, Mr. AJ Simone. My boy went got his haircut, got the floor shirt on, got the glasses on. We about to have some fun today. AJ, take it away, my boy.
All right, so let's get it started. We're just gonna talk a little bit about social justice tonight, and where we're at, where we're going, and what we can do to help get to where we need to be. And since we are first and foremost a hip hop publication, I think it's appropriate that the first question is, what should the role of hip hop be, if any, in the movement? And do artists have an obligation to use their platform as an engine to help move that movement? And anybody can take
We're gonna start with Taylor.
All right.
Oh, okay. When it comes to responsibility, I feel like there is a certain point that artists do need to have, especially when you do have this platform. I feel like a lot of people want, especially music artists, to kind of stay in this one box and only focus on certain aspects of their career. But if this affects you, aka like Cardi B, who this affects, she's seeing people affected by it, and she's speaking out about it. I feel like it is important for artists to kind of, if they feel truly passionate about it, to definitely speak on how we can move forward as a people, and notice that this is happening to us as a
Yeah.
people.
Desi?
I'll go. Yeah, I agree. I think I don't think we should like really hold them to a standard like you must say something, but I do think they should have some type of responsibility or know that they have a platform and that they speak to the masses and that they are like they're an influencer. So a lot of people are influenced by what they say, like what they do. For example, with Diddy, like with Vote or Die and things like that. Like there was a lot of people that fell behind him just because it was Diddy, like, or anything else. And like Tay was saying, like Cardi B is doing the same thing. So I do think as Black and as hip hop for Black people, that is our culture. So that is what we look at. That is what we look, for anything in any aspect. So I do think that some artists should. I don't think we should like be like you need to, you have to type thing, but it would be a good responsibility of theirs. Like Kanye West right now, I don't think he's being very responsible.
See, that's why I was saying you got to be careful. That's why I was like, it's a line, because you do have such a platform, and you have to just be very careful with how you say and portray certain things, especially to the youth. Right. A lot of people are ignorant to this. So if you their favorite rapper and this is how you come in, they're going to idolize that and go for that.
Exactly.
So it's a line.
It is a line.
Yeah.
Rappers.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. So we don't agree with what Kanye is saying right now, right? But he's saying something. Like whether it aligns with our views or not, he is speaking out.
That is
true. Which is exactly what we want from hip hop artists or any type of artist. Somebody out there, like some hip hop fans, agree with what Kanye is saying, and you do have that like kind of sort of like responsibility because you're in the limelight to say something. So I can think I speak for everybody when I say we don't agree with what Kanye is saying, but he's definitely using his voice, which is kind of what we expect people in the limelight to do. So I definitely think it's important if you're in that spotlight to say something and stand up for something. And whether we want to admit it, some people might not align with our views, and maybe at that point is when we're like, maybe you should shut up. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, this is what we're asking for. But then it comes to a point where it's like, if you're not aligning with our views, you need to shut up. So it's kind of a double-edged sword sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree. People have like such a large platform, and also just going back to what Taylor said about the youth. Like, the youth is so easily influenced, so you can't just be spreading misinformation around.
Exactly.
And they're going to run with it. Like, people are making TikToks, people are making YouTube videos, people are on Twitter all the time just putting out the wrong information. And then on top of that, they're not even, people who are seeing this stuff is not even looking deeper into it on top of that. So
it's propaganda. You got to be careful.
Yeah, you're literally going to face value of everything. So I definitely think that artists do need to step up, take that responsibility. If they truly feel that, don't do it just to gain clout, or don't do it, just do it out the goodness of your heart at the end of the day. If you truly feel some type of way about this, then speak up and use your voice, use your platform, because you know you're reaching people with it.
So a part of me is like on the fence, like conflicted about the whole idea. So like I remember when A$AP Rocky was promoting At Long Last ASAP, he made the whole album in Europe and he started his promotion in Europe. He was asked about police brutality and he got flack for his answer. He said, I haven't been in the States. I don't know what's going on. I'm not thinking about it. And, you know, we as a community really went hard on him for that. And my first reaction was to be upset by it. But, you know, the more I started thinking, I was like, do I even really want to hear what A$AP Rocky has to say about the topic? You know what I mean? So in a weird way, I respected his honesty, but at the same time, flash forward 2 to 3 years, he gets arrested in a racial incident in a foreign country. And, you know, we rallied behind him. So it's like the same man who was saying, you know, I don't care about these issues, they don't affect me. You know, the world has a weird way of bringing it right to his face, to the point where he was imprisoned wrongfully. So how do you feel about that? Like artists that have, you know, juxtaposing views or different views, or just say flat out that they don't want to participate. How does that make you guys feel?
It's the where is Ja feel.
Yeah.
Where is Ja? Personally, I don't care about what Ja Rule feels like, because I think sometimes we forget that these people are just like regular people too. You feel me? So it's very funny when we like want to know so bad what Cardi B thinks, and not to say that she's not like out here advocating, she's saying some real stuff, but it's like, why do we give people that are in the spotlight so much more credibility? Some of these people, and I'm not gonna say no names, some of these people are stupid. Like, they don't know. Perfect example. Me, Desi T, and Tay went to an event with I'm not gonna say his name, but with a very like big rapper. And
say his name.
I'm not gonna say his name, but let's just say that he chases dreams. And somebody asked him about Brett Kavanaugh. Remember when that was going on?
Yeah.
And he was turning to people like, who's that? So like, they got money, they got cars and all that, but just because they are so like popular and a celebrity don't mean that it doesn't give them the credible right to like, you look at them for your political views. I've never understood that. And Dave Chappelle hit it on the net, like when they were like, "I'm gonna speak with Ja Rule about what's going on right now." He's like, "No offense to Ja Rule, but I'm not trying to hear from him right now." So it's like consider the source.
Kyle, I got a question though.
Yeah.
Not to take it off music too much, but do you feel the same thing about LeBron when they say that he's speaking out and then they put him in the box like, oh, just play basketball? Do you feel like he's a more influential celebrity and that's why you would let him get away with it versus Ja Rule saying something about it?
I feel like if you're educated enough to speak on it, speak on it. If you're not, why are you talking? You're just a celebrity. Same thing with Killer Mike. Killer Mike can speak all day because he's educated. I'm not necessarily looking at Migos to speak about and like taking their word as the Bible, because I mean, unless they're educated, you never know. Unless they're educated on whatever the policy is, then I'll listen to them. You never know. But at the same time, I think people think just because you're a celebrity, your word holds more weight than everybody else's in all aspects. I'm more inclined to listen to Jeezy about how to make like the best song or make business decisions like within music or branding or whatever than policies that are affecting my everyday life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people need to consider the source sometimes.
All right. Well, before we get into our next question real quick, AJ, if you're just now tuning in, we got a couple people viewing in and stuff like that. This is Keep That Same Energy, Self-Awareness Week with the Rap Hippies. My apologies. I forgot to let everybody introduce themselves at the beginning. So real quick, we can go around the room. Everybody just holler out your name, what you do, what the Rap Hippies and all that kind of stuff. We're going to start with Desiree.
What's up, y'all? It's Desi T. I am one of the co-founders of the Rap Hippies. Keep that same energy, man. We're just trying to be here and keep the conversation going, even if the timeline it come back to normal and media is dwindling and the conversation is not there. Our platform is here to keep that same energy and keep talking about the things that need to be talked about for our community. So yeah.
The co-founder.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I didn't know if it was the same order.
Everyone,
You can't go by your
Everybody's
head,
breed
Kyle.
is different, Kyle.
Everybody's is different.
So K-High Stocks, the other co-founder, and honestly, this is the type of thing that me and Desi T always wanted, was stuff like this. You know, we love music, we love, lyrics and all that stuff, but we also love the community. We love talking about all kinds of topics like this. So to kind of have it go full circle, and shout out to everybody that was a part of this, because now we're actually getting to talk, because believe it or not, as much as Desi T and I have opinions on who's better, Nas or Jay-Z, we also have opinions on like policies, and we disagree on stuff. We agree on stuff. We give examples, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm loving this. Keep that same energy.
Taylor.
Hey, I'm Tay. I am a producer. I help produce content for social media, the website, everything to do with the Rap Hippies visually, just trying to be a helping hand to really, be an influential part in a community. You know what I'm saying? Us coming together, being young, being creatives, and just trying to make it out here. I'm really glad to be a part of something that's really going to make a movement. So,
Nay.
Hi. I am Nay the Goat, and I am the social media intern for the Rap Hippies. And I'm just glad we're bringing back the conversations that need to be had. Like, I'm glad we're using our platform to spread good information and good resources, and trying to get these talks back happening with our own little community, with our own audience. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be keeping that same energy with all of y'all. And I hope y'all enjoy what we got for the rest of the week too.
My boy Bishop. You are on mute, sir.
You could tell he started going too.
Still on mute.
He's not on mute though.
He's not on mute though.
I can't hear him.
Mm-mm.
That Boost Mobile.
Okay, let's go to AJ while Bishop figures out.
All right. My name is AJ. I'm a photographer, sometimes a graphic designer, sometimes a writer, always a rap nerd. And just like the rest of the Rap Hippies, I'm very excited that we're using our platform to, find solutions, to have important conversations, and to spread awareness. So, keep that same energy.
Period.
Boom. And I am C to the J, aka Mr. Network, aka Mr. Never Not Working. Producer, personality, DJ. I do a little bit of everything. My girl Desi T, brought me on with the Rap Hippies, introduced me to Kyle. We've been clicking up since then. I'm a battle rap junkie with my boy Bishop, AJ as well. Man. So I love to talk hip hop, definitely battle rap, anything music. I'm with it. I appreciate everybody tuning in right now, man. We're gonna keep that same energy because this is a very deep conversation that needs to continue to be had. This conversation has to continue to be had. We got to continue to apply this pressure, not just in the music entity, but around the world, period, no matter what it is. Bishop, you straight over there now?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh shit. My bad. What's up? My name's Sir Bishop. I write articles for the website from time to time and any other miscellaneous tasks Desi and Kyle need from me. Really dope to be here on this panel discussion. Keeping the same energy, man.
Boom. There it is. Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump back into our panel discussion. AJ, what we got?
All right. So, as everybody knows, these issues have been on the public conscious since the tragic murder of George Floyd several months ago. And one of the main issues that keeps getting brought up, not just now, but throughout our history in America, is the issue of police brutality and just our general interactions with police and our relationship. Research done by the Pew Research Center suggests that 65% of African Americans have been approached suspiciously by cops, as opposed to 25% of white adults. And the Washington Post, who's been keeping statistics on police murders since the year 2015, because our government refuses to, has found that although we make up 13% of the population, we are involved in officer-involved fatal shootings more than 2 times more than our white counterparts. So what should our relationship with the police be? Is there room for healing? And what do you guys think next actionable steps should be in that process?
So I'll say this, what our relationship with the police should be, for me personally, I feel that the people who police our neighborhoods should be from our neighborhoods. They should live in our neighborhoods and interact with the people who live in the neighborhoods that they're policing. There's no reason I should live in Duluth, Georgia, and my neighbor is a police officer from Clayco, driving there every day faithfully. That makes no sense to me, but you live out here. I feel like what their relationship looks like is a person who is not only from the community, knows the community, and so knows how to police the community accordingly. It's kind of hard to police a community of people that don't look like you can't relate to, you don't know any of the issues or anything that's affecting them. All you know is whatever training that you've had in the 6-8 weeks of the police academy, and then now they give you a badge and a gun, and you got to go out here and police people in a situation where you're given authority where you can literally kill somebody and at your discretion and get away with it. And so for me, it's more so a standpoint. It's kind of hard to do things like that when you know the person that you're pulling over. It's kind of, you're a little less, you're less likely to shoot Nubs the crackhead because you done grown up from him. You went to school with his sister, you know his mama, his auntie, the candy lady in the neighborhood. Like, you got a little more compassion. Like, for me, it's more so about the education and training of these officers, and then really building those relationships in our communities, because we as a community have a stigma on what their relationship with the police looks like due to how we've been treated in this country. And so I think going forward, there needs to be programs or some kind of implementation of community outreach between the community and the police, and working together on what that looks like. Because at the end of the day, you live here, we live here too. Your job is to protect and serve us. You know, your salary coming out of our tax dollars. Like, at the end of the day, you just as human as the rest of us, and people lose sight of that. So I'll just say that.
Add on to that.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the West Kept Secret, Hickman, LA. Thank you to Rap Hippies for having me. I really agree with what you said, though. From a personal experience, one of my homies is in the LAPD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we always talk about when shit goes down. And luckily, he's one of those guys who came from the community that he's patrolling, right? So he's able to, like you said, like, distinguish the bullshit from, like, niggas who really need to go to jail. Like, his whole thing is getting gangs off the street. So he don't care about, like, weed. He don't care about speeding. He let niggas go all the time. He trying to chase the niggas who out here robbing and killing other niggas.
Exactly.
And it's even a perfect example. One of my homies, Nacho, his little cousin start banging. My homie found him tagging up on the walls and all this shit. So as they was arresting him, he stepped up. He was like, "Wait, you Nacho nephew, right?" He was like, yeah. He was like, all right. He told his boys to back up, his little patrol boys, and he was like, all right, bro, just go home. Like, leave this shit alone. Like, stop tripping. Just go home. We're gonna let you go. Just off the simple fact that he grew up with the homie, you know. So you're 100% right. And they'll put a dude in the system like that over some tagging. Next thing you know, they're gonna pull up all his priors. They're gonna put him in some bullshit where in some general population where he getting no more shit. And then, you know, they tang you up in the system. So I just wanted to say that she was 100% right. And that's how that shit really goes when you see a reflection of yourself in these people rather than these motherfuckers who don't live in the same place. They can't see themselves in these motherfuckers and they just got guns drawn. So that was a good point.
The to kind of piggyback off of what Hickman just said, in LA, they have a thing called gang injunctions.
Yep.
And what it is, like, for example, like what you were saying, let's say he was tagging or whatever, and they arrested him. They would not charge him as an individual. They would charge him as a member of that gang. Right. And that tags on like 20 some odd years. And that's another thing that he kind of just saved him from, because gang injunctions are very real in LA County. Very real. So that's I feel like that is another way that they target, you know, because they know who in gangs. They know who's like majority in gangs out in LA, and you know it's people of color. So that's another reason why you always want to, like both of you guys said, just patrol the neighborhoods that you're familiar with, because you know what it is and you know what happens when they lock them up for a little tagging, how much more they could put on it. So,
what would you guys say to the people who want to defund or, you know, just dismantle the institution?
I see no opposition to it. For me, I'll say this. My understanding of when I hear defund the police, to me that says let's take a look at the police budget. Let's see what unnecessary spending is going on, and let's move money away from that, and let's move those resources to other public programs that we could use, such as healthcare, education, public parks, infrastructure, whatever it may be. To me, that's what defund the police says. Now, obviously, in the political climate that we're in, people hear defund the police and it's automatic propaganda. That's what it's gonna do. But me personally, I'm all for it because it makes all the sense. There's no reason in the world police should have military grade equipment, because military got a whole stockpile and the surplus of equipment that they ain't got nothing to do with. So they finna sell it to our local police at a discount. And they like, all right, bet we can use this. All right, cool. We don't need a tank, but it's cheap. Why not? Let's get one. And then you wonder why protests and stuff happen and police look like full-blown military. Me personally, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I do think we have to find a way to switch up that narrative that when we say defund the police, it doesn't mean like completely take it away. Like, it just means look at the funds that they currently have and let's try to allocate that somewhere else where it's needed, in our neighborhoods, in the education, in the medical, you know, and in all of the other things that will make our community a lot better that we are lacking. So I guess we have to figure out how can we change that narrative, or how can we even change that thought process of when us as a community say defund the police. We're not completely against, you know, taking the police, you know, completely taking them away. It's just a matter of let's find some other ways of using these funds and all of these bonuses that y'all are giving them. Because in Atlanta, when we had that whole situation where they decided to do their own protest after the Ray Shard situation, they ended up giving them like $500 bonuses just for them to come back on the clock. And they were just letting shit ride. Like, let's find somewhere else to put that money. So I think for us next, we have to figure out how we can change the narrative of defund the police.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just with the given history of where police stem from, coming from overseers to now who is supposed to protect and serve our communities and whatnot, like, we have to defund and we have to dismantle that entire what am I trying to say? Like that entire structure, because it's based from, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it's based from a bad place in our times. Like,
Yeah,
it's
we're
placed
like
from
police came
slavery.
from,
So,
yeah, they used to like capture the slaves. Like that's
yeah. So it's
like, they
nothing,
weren't to, yeah.
yeah, it's nothing but an evolved version of that to now. So I think we do need to instill some type of programs that test people's mental state before going in there, first and foremost. Definitely taking out the military equipment, because you're right, Bishop. Why do we need military equipment at a protest? But who was protesting? The Republicans were protesting having to wear a mask, not being able to go outside, and they had guns, and although the police officers just was without protection of themselves. But we were peacefully protesting the whole time. So before I start ranting about that, yeah, it's just, it comes from a place that was never for us in the first place. So that's why we're fighting so hard to defund the police.
I do think the police need better training, like as far as de-escalating
Agreed.
situations, when they talk to people, because a lot of people may have mental issues and they may not be aware of it. You know, Rayshard Brooks, that whole situation could have been different. I know there are different views on both ends as far as, because we've watched the video and we've seen it, but there could have been something differently that could have happened. In multiple situations, we have seen police officers just automatically be aggressive. And I do think they do need a little bit more training. And sometimes I don't know what the training process is, but from my understanding, it's not that long.
I got you.
I got you too.
21. I think it was 21 weeks of police academy with an additional 12 weeks of training, and then they're like on beat for 3 years before they can actually move up or like for another position for a different unit. So literally 12 weeks after you come out of the police academy is training.
You're in training in the field to that point, because I actually have family that's within law enforcement. So kind of going to that point, and then you also look at certain countries around the world, you have to have a 4-year college university degree just to get accepted into university in other countries in the world, just to be a police officer. You have to have a 4-year degree just to get into the academy, and then you have to go through another however many years and then still do training before you even get your badge and you're in the field. And so when you talk about training and education, it plays a huge role. And then you also factor in the amount of stress and the situations police officers find themselves in. Like, there's a certain level of mental fortitude that you have to have that position. And so like the amount of training that these officers are having is not enough time to, like, I really think that mental evaluation should be a part of that process, because like you have a lot of there's a lot of power that comes with that badge and that gun. And there's also a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And you have to know how to use it. You have to know how to use it accordingly.
Well, they supposedly get the mental and like very thorough mental evaluations before they even selected to go to the police academy. I think the thing is, after the police academy, after the training, well, the training should definitely be longer than 12 weeks, in my opinion. But I don't know exactly what their de-escalation training is, but that definitely needs to be like something longer than whatever it is, because currently, just off of the unarmed people being shot and those situations not being de-escalated, I would say in the best way without someone dying, definitely a black person. We see it differently when a white person gets pulled over. He can be having a whole M16 in his back trunk. You know what I'm saying? And hey, all right, see you later, Johnny. You know what I'm saying? Where black person could be just grabbing their phone and now they got 2 to the chest, which they're trained to shoot center mass. I think that's an issue in itself.
And to your point about being trained to shoot center mass, and you mentioned not knowing as far as de-escalation training, what that looks like. I think I was watching, I think it was the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and he was kind of getting into this subject. And they was talking about how, like, a lot of times as far as training or de-escalation tactics, officers are taught to react first and then ask questions later. And so you wonder why you end up in these situations where they don't know what's going on, and they just, all of a sudden, they just reacting, and you just messed around and killed somebody, versus taking the time to go through your actual de-escalation training. I've also seen videos of officers was one I can't remember where it was, but like throughout the whole video, like people are surrounding the situation and instigating it, making it worse than it needs to be. And yet the officer interacting with the person is like no, like fuck them. This is between you and I. Like let's like calm down. Like damn all of that. Are you good? You're good. I'm not hurting you. Are you okay? And so, you know, but as far as that particular officer having the fortitude and wherewithal and mental training to like de-escalate the situation that he is, like there needs to be more implementation of that, whatever that looks like.
And I think it also goes off of the individual that's the police officer as well. Some are good, some are bad, some are just straight dickheads. I'm not gonna lie. And
yeah.
But some of them reason why they even became police officers because for that power that they have with that badge. They were probably like, you know what I'm saying, the ones that got beat up or bullied in school, and now that power helps them feel, you know what I'm saying, superior.
Oh yeah, it's a power trip. It's a power trip.
It's another thing that happens, like just like any other organization, you know, in the country or whatever. Unfortunately, some of these people just get in through some buddy shit, you know, through some frat boy, through some I know Jim and John, and you know, like these people who are at the top that see that this motherfucker isn't going to carry out that same agenda. So that's why you have situations like Christopher Donor, who, you know, he tries to go to his superiors and they flush him out of the system to the point where he just starts killing people directly to the force, you know. Or I don't know if you guys saw that dude on TikTok, the guy who was talking about how the George Floyd situation could have been de-escalated. They ran him off of duty for 3 months and they just fired him off of the investigation on his TikTok just for breaking down why it was so bad. So a lot of these dickheads are just in because other dickheads need them in, you know what I mean? And that's why you get these unions where that, like the guy who pushed that old guy and busted the back of his head open, his whole department dipped out and was like, we're not gonna come back until y'all give him his job back. So it's like this whole buddy, like we gonna keep it alive type shit is a bad hindrance, you know what I mean? And it's hard for people who want to make change, even make change, you know?
Gotcha. Hey, Jay, what you got for us?
Personally, I think the issue is, it goes back to what CJ was saying about, like, you know, a white person in this fictional scenario could have like an M16 and a black person reaches for his phone and is seen as a threat. I think that's the root of the issue. It's a human issue. We're not seen as human. If you watch these videos, which honestly I stopped several years ago, so I did not watch the George Floyd video. I saw stills of it, but you could look in that guy's face and see that he did not have his neck on a man. He had his neck, his foot on a inferior being. You know what I mean? I think these issues, we could do all the de-escalation training we want, right? But if these people don't first see us as human, then they're gonna treat us as not human. I think like everything else, it's a black and white issue. We never reconciled with the fact that a unified police front was started to capture free slaves. We never reconciled with that. So everything we're seeing is the reverberations from, you know, 200-year-old actions. And until we're able to say that publicly, until they're able to admit that that's the truth, then this system will never work. We could put Band-Aids everywhere, but a Band-Aid can't heal a broken leg. You know what I mean?
Band-Aid won't heal what it ain't meant to.
Excuse me?
A Band-Aid won't heal what it ain't meant to.
Exactly.
The system can't heal and fix itself for those that ain't designed for.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And does anybody have any, you know, final statements on this before we move on to the next question? All right. So moving on, you know, not all of us were called to be activists. Not all of us were called to be in the field every day. But a lot of us feel that we should still do something to help this movement. So what do you guys think the role of the average person should be in these times?
Nay.
Can you repeat? I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat it one more time?
So what do you think an average person should be doing in their everyday life?
So, sign petitions. Like, use your own, even if you don't have a lot of followers, just you can gain traction through hashtags. Like, just use your platform, use what you got, go out there and still protest. Like, you may not see it up and down the TL, it may not be on CNN anymore, but protests are still being had everywhere. Like, on my way to work a few days ago, there was a lady holding a Black Lives Matter by herself, holding a Black Lives Matter poster at 8:00 in the morning at an intersection on Peachtree Industrial. Just by herself. Like, you can go out there even if you don't see it. Like, literally keep that same energy until we start seeing something change. Like, enough with the painting the Black Lives Matter roads. Enough with all of that, trying to just, oh, here you go. Is this enough? We can't do everything, but here's enough. Here you go. So I just think people need to just do what they can. And of course, you can't go out and talk in front of a rally of 1,000 people. You don't have that space to do that. But what you can do is you can record a minute video and put it on your Instagram. What you can do is try to encourage your family members that kind of see things a little differently to open their eyes and see what the world is today. Those friends, encourage them to reshare some posts. Like, it's the little things. They don't have to do anything major.
Literally, talk to your family. I know so many people who are like, first generation even understanding this. Even though we're Black people, we probably just been dealing with a lot. I have other friends of other races who don't have these talks with their families, who don't really sit with their grandparents and their great uncles and their aunts and their cousins and really get down to it until now. So I would just say personally, talk to your family, talk to the closest people by you and really understand their mindsets on this. Because I've had a lot of friendships or associates that I've had to pull back from behind this, and I stand for it. The unfollows have been happening on Instagram, like, period. If you're gonna be for me and be for us. You know what I'm saying? So educate your family and educate your friends, please. The closest people to you.
Yeah, I think just following up with all of this, it kind of goes back to the conversation we had with Asia yesterday. Like, what the average person can do is just donate to local organizations that that's out here trying to make a difference, go to these local council meetings to make these demands and stuff like that, and really step on our local people's neck and making sure that we everything that we want, like, locally is actually getting done. So I think the average person, and that's easy, like, that's to just go on the internet and Google your city and what may be happening, because they do have to put up when they have those meetings amongst, the board and stuff like that with the school board and X, Y, and Z. And so it's just, the email addresses are out there. If you want to ask them something, if you want to say something, the phone numbers and the addresses, the emails, I think the average person can't do that if you're not the one to be on the forefront and outside protesting, because all of us are not aggressive and wanting to be doing all of that. That sometimes it is okay to be on the back end and find it in a different type of way instead of being in that crowd and taking in that particular energy that's out there, because that energy is a lot different when you're out there protesting and stuff like that versus when you're at home and just able to send out an email or a phone call or share something. Or I think now it is easy to reach the masses more because of social media and the internet and things of that nature. So you just I think the average person should also not feel pressured to have to be out there to protest and be extra loud on the internet or anything like that. There are subtle ways that we can continue to make a difference. Talking to family, as Tay said, continuing to stop like hate speech, you hear anybody say anything, if you're comfortable enough to be like, no, that's not right, this is what needs to be done, then, feel free to speak up and say that and change that person's perspective. And you never know what difference you can make with just that one person that you speak up to.
True.
Anybody?
I would just say, in regards to what the average person should do, and maybe this is a little cynical in me, maybe this is a little pessimistic in me, but at this stage, my mindset is either do something or shut the fuck up and get out the way. The way I look at it, you got a problem with the way police are treating us, do something about it. Organize and do something about it, or shut the fuck up. We've been complaining for years. Complaining ain't did nothing. All complaining is gonna do is get us a couple of headlines, get a couple of Black Lives Matter, a couple of murals, a couple of streets, some ads, a couple of Netflix specials, and that's cool. And that's gonna appease people and they're gonna shut up and go on about their day. Same way it happens every single time. So if you're not gonna do nothing about it, shut up and accept it and get out the way. And like I said, maybe that's a little cynical and pessimistic in my end, but like, and maybe I'm just jaded just because like I'm tired of seeing this stuff constantly over and over again. I'm tired of hearing people like, I'm tired of having to see Black Lives Matter. I'm tired of having to see Black trans lives matter. I'm tired of having to see protect Black women. I'm tired of having to see that constantly. And yet we all know at the end of the day in the world that we live in currently, it's not going to change. So if you're not going to do nothing to really implement change, shut up and get out the way. Because all you're doing is complaining. And I know that sounds really jaded and really messed up. And that's a really dark mindset to have in. And it's really unfortunate to have that mindset when you really think about it. Like when you really think about it, that's an unfortunate mentality to have about all of this. But if I'm being completely honest, because y'all the homies, that's where I'm at with it. Like if you're not gonna police your own communities and hold the police accountable yourself, like you say you from this set and you willing to die about this, if you're not willing to police your community yourself and protect your community yourself, shut up and get out the way. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to. Going back to the first question, which was what obligations do I feel artists have and what role does hip hop play? In all honesty, I feel like artists have no obligation to speak on issues. From the standpoint of your art is a reflection of your mentality and what you're thinking. To me, for me personally, music and art is a reflection of the time. And so if the issues at the time is what's on your mind, that's what your art reflects, by all means, talk about it. But if you're not educated to talk about them issues and what's going on, shut up and get out the way, because you're messing up progress and you're messing up the message. Get out the way. If your lane is to make feel-good music that gets people through these dark times so that they don't have to think about this messed up world that we live in, and you got to make some music for someone to shake their ass to just so they can get through it, so be it. Play your position and do it. But that does not mean you are obligated to speak on anything. I think there's a social expectation that comes from society, but I don't think that there is a moral obligation for artists, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Well, if you're just now tuning in, man, this is Keep That Same Energy panel discussion with the Rap Hippies. Self-Awareness Week. We've been rolling since Monday. It's our third day rolling. I am C to the J, one half of your host for tonight. I have my brother AJ with me. He is hosting as well. AJ, what we got next?
All right. So I think we've touched on social media a bit, but with social media being so prevalent, a lot of these sour encounters with the police, a lot of these fatal encounters with the police have been filmed. They've been put on the internet. They've been on TV, just because it's so easy for somebody to grab a phone and videotape or photograph anything. Because of this, I don't have data to support it, but I felt a lot more support from white and non-people of color. So with these people joining in and needing to be educated, what should the role of white and non-people of color people be in the movement, and how should they use their privilege to help?
Okay, go. Desi T.
Kyle first, then we're going to go to Desi.
I'm gonna shut up on this.
Go ahead, Desi. Ladies.
Just feel like educate yourselves. Like I feel like we already have a lot going on, that it is hard for me to sit here and tell you what you need to do, because it is just like, all of this stuff is ethically wrong and morally wrong. And if you cannot see that, that's a problem. And I just want you to, there's so many resources out there. If we have to, as Black people, as we're in PWIs and in HBCUs, and we have hella books that's telling us about our history and about, you know, how we're being treated and X, Y, and Z, then motherfucker, it's out there for you as well. Like, go out there and learn something and really try to understand where we're coming from. And I do get that they want to ask questions and they really want to see, but it's just so much to unpack that a one conversation and you going back to make a change is going to be a little bit hard, at least for me. And so when my white friends or other, you know, friends come to me and ask me things, it is kind of hard for me to try to tell them what to do. It's just really like, educate yourselves. And when you do finally get to that point of really understanding where we're coming from, continue that conversation with your other white friends and your family members so that it can trickle down and you can get them to understand. And that is where a change can come so that it can become some type of domino effect. So I get kind of frustrated because we already as Black people go through enough. Like, why do I have to now
have to educate you?
Here we go. Like now but it's so much. Like I went to a PWI and I made sure I still made sure that I went to my African American study classes, like a part of my electives. Like I made sure so that I could really grasp and really understand and know and you know, can have things like this and talk about it. And there are resources out there for them to do the same thing.
I feel like at this point, if you're asking me how you can help, you're just trying to stay ignorant to the situation, because it's not like it's out here. It's not like we haven't been saying these things for years, even before social media. It's not like we haven't been saying these things for years. Like you're just choosing to stay ignorant by saying, well, what can I do? It's like, what do you mean? What can you do?
You know what?
Speak up.
I slightly disagree with you, Nay, because if they are asking, are they really trying to stay ignorant or are they trying to be somewhat aware? I understand that like the information is out there, but so is things about science. Things about science are on Google, but we still gotta go to science class. Like sometimes like it takes that one person and I want to start a campaign called for white people called Grab a White. So if you're a white person that is quote unquote woke, grab a white and talk to somebody else. Talk to somebody else about what's going on, because what's happening is they're reaching out to you because they feel comfortable, like, you know, like kind of on the radar, like, hey, you know, like, what does this mean? I'll give you a perfect example. I was flying from Seattle, and my boss, okay, she's like a 40-year-old white lady. She asked me, she was like, she said one of her friends was talking about on Facebook, was talking like going to protests. This is right after George Floyd, going to protests and things like that. And she's like, and she does so much, and people are like, well, you should do more, you should do more. And we talked about it a little bit, but then it went into the conversation I felt like it was about to go into, which was, she's like, so have you ever felt like, you know, have you ever had any run-ins with the police? And like, how do you feel like about the police? And I asked her, you know, think about it like this. If you were in trouble, let's say somebody was breaking in your house, if you had to second guess calling the police, think about that feeling. Or like, have you ever had to, because I'm sure all our parents had to, have you ever had like to tell your kids, like have a conversation about what happened when you come in as an officer, you know? And she was like, well, you know, I just like to know these things because I don't want to be a Karen. Yeah, by the way, like this is before they knew that they were Karens. I was like, oh, wow, she knows she's a Karen. But she's like, I don't want to be a Karen or anything, but, you know, she was very ignorant to the fact. But we had that conversation, and I made sure she knew where I was coming from. So, and I hope she grabs a white and talks to them about like the conversation, because I also feel like, and me and Desi T had this conversation recently too, I don't know if right now in 2020 with everything going on, I don't know if there's anything white people can do to appease us right now. I don't know, like, because we, like, they might be marching with us, but then we like, what you really out here for? Where your phone at? Like, are you taking pictures? Or like, what's your real motive? Or if they not out there, like, oh, you ain't out here marching. Or if they're not making their social media picture black, like, are you really for us? But like, but if they ask us questions about like, hey, how are you? Like, do we kind of look at that as pandering? You feel me? Like, it's. I don't know if there's anything they can do right now. Just being honest, like, what can white people do right? Look, I'm saying white. What can white people do right now? Because they
can just
not good enough. That they
can dismantle institutional racism, but they're not going to.
Yeah,
that's what they could do to make it right, but they're not going to, because to do that would shatter everything that they know, everything they believe about America now becomes a lie. Your bubble is burst. Everything you know, everything you've been taught your whole life now becomes a lie. Everything you once held in high regard in this beautiful dream of
Bishop,
America.
I didn't catch what you said in the beginning. You said they could do what?
I said, as far as what they could do to make things right, they could dismantle the institutions of racism that still plague this country. They could actually take the time from a systematic standpoint to address and that could really be done if we're really talking about how to get stuff done. If we're really talking about making progress as a people within this country. You want to talk about like organizing a political movement and like really rallying and really pushing issues for us and making the political, like that can be done. The problem is, from a societal standpoint, it's not happening. Just from the standpoint of like the foundations of this country won't allow it to. It won't, no matter how you slice and dice it. This COINTEL programs that literally was designed specifically to dismantle and completely eradicate the Black Panther Party, which was about nothing more than our rights. Free lunch programs and protecting us, systematically destroyed by our government. So let's not act like, you know what I mean? Like, we know what this country was built on. We know what it would actually take to get rid of something. It's just a matter of will it get done? No, it won't. And so from a standpoint of these conversations, for me, when my white peers come to me and have these conversations, to me, it's like, what's the point in having knowledge if you're not going to do anything with it? Now you know what's going on. Okay, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because you see what's going on. You've asked me about it. I've given you the information. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to go educate someone? Are you going to organize and attack these institutions? No? Then what's the point of you asking me about it? And I've had that conversation several times over the last few months. Like, it is what it is. So like, don't even waste your time apologizing to me. Been living this life all my life. It ain't nothing new. I appreciate it, but again, what's the point of having knowledge if you ain't gonna do nothing with it?
Yeah, that's true.
True. I agree.
Sorry if I got like heavier, like.
Bishop, just keep going on. It's okay.
You good, Bishop? You straight?
Yeah, you was going ham.
Cause again, just like for me personally, like just between, I got a lot of, again, Desi, you know how it is at Kennesaw, going to the PWI. Like for me, I have friends on both sides, so I have a lot of white people hitting me up like, hey, what's up? I got people sending me DMs on IG, hey, sorry about what's going on, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I mean, that's cool and all, but like, your apology ain't changing nothing. It ain't doing nothing for me. So what's the point? Like, I appreciated you trying to comfort me, but like, my nigga, you're not doing nothing for me. Like, so what's the point? Like, and so like, I really been like going through this like a lot lately. Like, so sorry if this turned into a therapy session. I just needed to.
You good, brother? Nah, you good. Okay, so before we, anybody else was a little back from our guests we had? Okay, no?
We have a question in the chat.
Yeah, I was just finna jump to that, AJ.
Oh, okay. All right, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Olivia asks, do you think Black people are too reliant on white people for change? Do you think Black people fully understand that by voting, they can make a change? By voting, we could put the right people in power to break the systematic racism that is evident still to this day.
Yes and yes.
Nay, what you think? All right, cool. No, that's a really good question that we talked a lot about yesterday. You know, Asia and Desi and Teddy and me and Sydney. You have to know that you have so much power in your vote, because otherwise, why would they stop us from voting? You know, you got to think about that kind of stuff. You got to pay attention to policies, and you have to make sure that the policies align with your views. So I think it's really important that you do vote. And I don't know if in a way, I do feel like we are a little more reliant on white people because they have the power right now. Unfortunately, we do kind of have to rely on them at some point. So, I mean, that's how I feel personally. What about anybody else?
Taylor?
Nah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I was trying to unmute myself.
You good?
So yeah, going with the voting, we just talked about voting. I feel like that is so important. I really hate when people say that their vote does not matter, that it does not count. Like, that is going to be a pivotal moment for a lot of situations. And I'm not just talking about the national vote with the Trump and the Biden. I'm talking about your local reps, your judges, the people in your school board. Like, that is going to be essential for not just us relying on Black people, but also like white people as a whole. Like, those systems, we need to be sure that our vote counts.
I think there's a little bit of nuance to the issue, because asking Black people to trust in voting, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I do believe that a vote is powerful, but asking people, Black people especially, to vote is asking us to.
Guess what? Black people aren't suppressed. You guys are idiots.
Who said that? Hold on a second.
Black people aren't suppressed, dude. George Floyd was a resistance.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That was gonna be fun.
I thought we were gonna have some fun.
Lame.
I did too.
I knew it. I
have some.
You see how much power we have, y'all? Because
How did we get hacked?
So bad.
Because
That was quick.
that was fun.
I wanted you to.
We're ready to fire their ass up, bro. Look, I go through this shit on Call of Duty.
Hey, yo.
Like, we
Hey,
do this on Call of
I
Duty
knew
all
it
the
was
time.
coming. I knew it was coming. I was about to call on John. John looked like.
Oh, yo.
John popped up out of nowhere.
Everybody just take a moment to look.
Pause. I got Adam in the waiting room. I got Blake in the waiting room. I got Andrew in the waiting room.
Hold on a second. So y'all know, because we're gonna make this a podcast too. We're doing this via Zoom, and anybody can join. So we had some people in here that wanted to voice their opinions, which is kind of trolling. But if they had something insightful to say, we would let them speak. But you already see what happens when Black people galvanize.
Right.
You know, that young whites. See, this is why the campaign. Y'all got to get with me on this. Grab a white.
Y'all, I have Adam, Carl, John, James, Jacob, Roberts.
Don Jacob.
Oh my God.
Don Jacob Jingle Hungersman.
Like that.
My name too, CJ.
Hey, look. I say you pick two of them. Just let two in.
Okay,
Let's take some callers. Let's take some.
There we go, Nate. Let's take some
This is the
calls.
finale. Let's go.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna add them in, and I'm gonna say.
Just one at a time, though.
I'm gonna take John James. Here we go. John James up next.
You better have his video up.
Oh, please don't look like John, because John scared me.
Hello, caller.
John James, how you doing, sir? Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next call. Let's go ahead. Okay. Got a little, all right.
Next caller.
Next caller, please.
I have someone named, their name says Louis BLM, and I feel like it might be a facade. So I'm just going to bring them in.
Desi T, can we remove John James?
Yeah, let's remove John James with the twerking ass cheeks.
That's crazy. Literally anybody.
He's coming in. He has the BLM in a fist. So let's see if he's legit.
Let's invite him and welcome arms.
Damn, season finale.
Welcome to the season finale.
Louis, how you doing? Would you like to join us? No? Oh, connecting to audio. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Louis, can you hear us?
What's up, niggers?
Oh, that's
we do it.
Classic.
Next caller.
You're not smart.
It was
You're
perfect.
not smart.
Oh God.
We already knew that was coming.
We knew that was coming.
Ask your sister how my dick tastes.
You actually think George Floyd is a good person?
All right.
Next
Louis is
caller.
distracting us from talking positivity over here.
Right,
let's
right.
go ahead and
So,
remove
Louis, did you have something very insightful that you wanted to say?
George Floyd deserved to die. He was resisting arrest.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Louis.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. That was,
All right, so Desi, what we'll do is we'll ask them if they have something insightful to say. If they don't, just have the remove button ready so we can go ahead and go to our next person.
Y'all, my
All right.
is pounding.
That was hilarious.
y'all gotta look. Don't let the
I'm gonna just mute my mic.
This is like Xbox Live, literally.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's literally like Xbox Live. You just
literally go through this on 2K, on Call of Duty. Like,
Don't
this
let
is
them
what
rile
happens.
you up though. Like,
Yeah, you're right. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, I'm
Don't
gonna
let it rile you up.
bring in Christina. It's a girl.
Is it? Because Nayla wasn't a girl.
I'm still
This is the
clowning.
season finale. This is wild.
Christina, you're on with the Rap Hippies. What do you have insightful to say?
Connected to audio. Oh, she's out.
Not much. Okay.
I'm bringing in Mason.
What an experience, guys. This is crazy.
Mason, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the Rap Hippies. Keep that same energy.
Yeah.
You got a question? You got something insightful you want to like to share?
No, not really. I'm good right now.
Okay.
You good right now? You just want to listen? Just tuning in?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Mason, where are you?
Mason.
I live in Tampa Bay, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Tapping in from Florida. Welcome.
All right, so I'm gonna put you back on mute, Mason, so we can go ahead and get back to our scheduled program. But thank you for joining.
Yeah.
I have another.
All right.
All right, Mason can stay.
Mango sauce.
What?
How you doing there, Mango Sauce? You have something insightful to share with the Rap Hippies?
Mango sauce is
Okay.
song name.
I have no more in the waiting room, guys, but that was quite interesting.
Perfect. Well, we're going to go ahead and keep this show rolling. For those who just now tuning in, man, it is the Rap Hippies. This is our Keep That Same Energy Self-Awareness Week. I'm your host, C to the J, with my co-host, my brother AJ. We got any more questions for the people, AJ, before we get up out of here?
We're actually fresh out of questions. So
wait, did y'all? There's some in the chat. I don't know if you guys read the last few.
We read those already.
Okay.
No. Somebody asked, do black people have power?
Yes.
Yes.
We see
I
that.
think we realize it's just a matter of how we use it.
Yes, we do.
I think we have the most power in the world. No hyperbole. You go to Asia,
Thanks.
people are rapping. They're wearing Air Jordan 1s. The white people that made fun of my dark skin want to be me. People get ass fillers. People get lip fillers. People want to look like us. We have a command on cool. Cool is the most powerful thing. We are the most powerful people on the planet. We have the most buying power in America. We only make up 13%. We make the most influential music. We make the most influential media. We are the most powerful people.
Let me ask you this, Asia. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like we have the right kind of power?
I think any power is good power. We need to learn how to use it, how to wield it. We need to, monitor who comes in and out of our culture as it gets bigger. We need to monitor whose voices we amplify. But if we do it right, we are the most powerful people on the planet.
We have to stop being so divisive first. We have to legit come together so we can use that power, because we need to fight about skin tone. Colorism is still alive and well. So I think until we can access that power, we have to first attack the problems that we have within our own community.
To piggyback off of you, Ned, that's a really good point. And I guess this is like my final word for tonight. If anybody else want to share, please do. But I feel like one of the biggest problems that we have as a community is that we lack as a community. We are so separate. Like, we can never get together on one thing, because if we could, like, we would shut this whole world down. But we have such a problem, like, being banned as a community. I mean, we do to a certain extent, but we don't click the way we should. And it's unfortunate, because if we do, it's almost like when you're, what do they say, you use like 8% of your brain or something like that? Some low percentage. Imagine if you use 100% of your brain. Imagine what you could do. Imagine 100% of us, because like it or not, like way more than we do, white people stick together. White people stick together. Asians stick together. Jews stick together. Like, they may have like a couple of things in their community, but they're a pack. I don't think we're a pack enough. I think we're a community of individuals, and we need to stop that.
I agree. I
agree.
Talking to piggyback on both about stigmas. I see a lot of just like Black men and Black women attacking each other for, let's say, Black men not protecting Black women. That's a big thing on Twitter and in the world. So just like the colorism thing is just a stigma that we're kind of in. Like, the Black men, don't be there to help us, even though we know Black men who do step up and do what they need to do. It's just the stigma of all of us. We need to get out of that as Black people. I don't walk up to a Black man and be like, oh, he's not a good father. You know what I'm saying? I go into it like very, very positive. This man is smart, educated, and you got to just see Black men better, even as Black women. Sometimes we don't do that.
Desi T, you got any last words?
No, I agree. I just want us to really, yes, we are a community, but like legit form one. I want us to come together for real and make powerful moves, and really, it's happening. I'm not going, the time that we're in now, this shit is happening. It may take a little bit. It's going to take some more time. We're still trying to get ourselves acclimated to really, really making this change. Things like this, as far as what we're doing, Black Lives Matter, the movement, everybody is buying Black and doing things like that. Like, we are coming together. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do like what I'm seeing as far as things like this. And I know we're not the only ones keeping that same energy. So I 100% do agree with Kyle, though I just want us to stop thinking so individually and really think about, our community, our future, our children, and things of that nature, so that we can keep striving and we don't have to continue to do this, because this is the pain that we're going through. I don't want my children to have to go through this and see this shit all over again. And I don't want history to repeat itself. Like, that is a known thing, but I think this year, 2020, has really opened our eyes to really make a change in general. But as we're doing right now with the Rap Hippies, is keeping that same energy. And hopefully this is something that we can continue to do every other month or so, just so that we can keep this conversation going when we know it is slowed down, that it is our responsibility as a team who cares about our people, ourselves, our future, our children, to keep talking about it in every which way that we can.
Real quick, Bishop, any last words real quick?
Pick up a ballot and a bullet, use both and strategize.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, with that being said, I mean, shit.
That's the name of the episode.
You know, we want to say appreciate everybody joining us tonight, man. Appreciate my co-host AJ. Appreciate all our rap hippies here for our panel discussion. We are back tomorrow. We'll keep that same energy, self-awareness. We are talking Black businesses tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you tune in. We got Zoom or IG tomorrow?
IG.
On our IG, make sure you go to our website, raphippies.com, get you some merch, all of that, see some of our content that we have on there, the write-ups, all of that fun stuff. With that being said, I'm signing out. My name is C to the J. What's up, Desi?
Because this is going on the podcast, make sure you guys continue to follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, where you can hear this. This is a season finale. There was some real shit that happened today. There was a real conversation. We had some people that tried to be imposters and come in and crash our conversation, but we did not know that was going to happen. But makes for a great season finale. Here for it.
I don't know. We kind of did. After I saw John pop up, I knew.
Yeah. I thought John was just.
Hey, and I don't know if anybody peeped it. He came in and he was just there for a minute, right?
He was just staring. He looked like a worm.
Everybody's watching his video, but I don't know if anybody noticed. He was muted for a minute and he unmuted. I'm like, "What's up, John? What you coming?"
He did.
No, he popped up. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to say,
Good stuff. This is going up on YouTube, John. Hope your parents listen.
Nah, but man, appreciate everybody tuning in. Hickman, Olivia, Delina, appreciate y'all rocking with us for this whole time, for this conversation. Again, follow us on IG, the Rap Hippies. Make sure you hit the website as well. I'm C to the J. Got my brother
AJ.
And look, we out. Appreciate everybody.
Peace.
keep that same energy.
Love y'all. Stay safe.
You too.
Oh.